minutes after the hour and counting, and boy, we live in a digital age, there's no doubt about it, and I have a gentleman on who's going to talk about this. His name is David Fetterman. He's president and CEO of Fetterman and Associates. It's an international evaluation consulting firm. He's a professor of education at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff and director of the Arkansas Evaluation Center. For over 25 years, he held positions in Stanford University's Administration, School of Education, and the School of Medicine. He's got recent books. They include Empowerment Evaluation Principles and Practice and Ethology. Ethography?
Ethnography, right.
Yeah, ethnography. I'm sorry about that. Okay, step-by-step, third edition. Okay, not a word I use too often in my vocabulary. I want to give you his website. It's davidfetterman.com. He's got a brand new book out, Empowerment Evaluation in the Digital Villages. Hewlett-Packard's $15 million race towards social justice. The book is published in paperback by Stanford Business Books. Welcome, David. Long introduction. Great subject, an important subject. Somehow, for the average person, it may disappear in the cracks. Tell us why you wrote the book and who it's for.
Absolutely, thanks. It's basically a message of sort of what people can do if you give them the opportunity, how resilient they can be. Because these are pretty depressed areas that we worked in, and we'll give them a little bit of latitude and resources with a tech focus. A lot of them were able to develop small businesses. Some of them the largest wireless system in the country, according to the FCC at the time, transformed curriculum. So basically the whole key of this is to help people bridge the digital divide, in this case in communities of color.
When you think about this field in empowering people, we always think qualitatively and quantitatively. And the approach here on improvement, it really requires both aspects, doesn't it?
Yes. You always have to have a combination, because you want some built-in, accountability for numbers and figure out where you are and how things are moving along. But obviously, qualitatively, you're transforming people's lives at the same time and giving them sort of a whole new concept of, where they can go. In this case, by experiential kind of education, by immersing themselves in the actual projects, doing the actual work that they may not have otherwise had an opportunity to do. So that's the game plan. The game plan is self-determination and sustainability are the keys.
What does this book present that other books on the market don't?
Well, the key is mostly what you can do with a project of this nature that is a comprehensive community initiative, where you can actually take whole communities and have them learn to self-govern, regulate, build up their own businesses, have different economic revenue streams, etc., where it has not been successful. And the reason is it's usually been a hand out instead of a hand up. And that's what this is, a hand up, where you help people move forward, but you don't basically do it for them and then walk away, and then there's no ownership or buy-in.
Yeah, I love that theory, and I talk about it in terms of sales or motivations. I can provide the tools and the information for you. I can't empower you. You have to self-empower yourself.
Yes, exactly.
And you talk about empowerment evaluation. We only have a few minutes here, so I'd like you to go through maybe a couple of the key principles of it and perhaps explain it to the audience.
Sure. One of the key things that people sometimes their eyes get glazed over if I say I'm going to mention theory. But don't worry, it's just called process use. And all that means is the more that people conduct their own evaluations and their own projects, the more they buy into the findings because they own them versus not being involved in it. A quick example is in one foundation I worked with, they decided that they were going to help people build new houses, having housing development programs. They thought they were going too slow. So they took over. They did a beautiful job. 2 years later, it's all fallen apart because there's no ownership based on it. It's only when people actually are part of the process and the decision-making process that they actually take charge, take responsibility, and that it's sustainable. Other things are that, in their case, we're using something called empowerment evaluation, something I came up when I was the president of the American Evaluation Association. And that's basically teaching people how to monitor and evaluate their own programs. So they're constantly creating a feedback loop to see where they are. And if they're not making it where they are, you don't get slapped on the wrist for it. You go, okay, how are we going to change our strategies? Make mid-course corrections. Don't wait till the end and find out it was a failure. So constantly looking for information and changing. That was the driving engine underlying this initiative. And each of these different digital villages had a range of success. So I don't want to give the impression that it was all perfect and wonderful. Some of it was right through the ceiling, beautiful successes. Others were basically moderate, and then some of them had to do some real turnarounds because they didn't do too well initially.
David, how diversified is the approach? I mean, it's more than just training, isn't it?
Yeah, it's sort of training by doing. I usually just have people get immersed in it so that the training is the doing. They have typically 3 steps where you're helping a group come up with a mission, and then you're helping them take stock of where they are, and that involves prioritizing the key things that are most important to them at that time, and then rating them, and then discussing why they rated them. It builds a culture of evidence in the process, so people focus on evidence. But that would be a normal evaluation. This takes it a step further and says, okay, great, you assessed yourself, you're doing poorly in this area, great in this area, what are you going to do? And that's plans for the future. Some people call it strategic planning. I don't know the term. It's mostly, where do you want to go? And at that point, they're establishing their goals, their strategies, and we talk about credible evidence with the donor, with folks that are supplying the money, the resources, so we're all together.
How important is collaboration in the process?
Critical. If you don't have the collaboration and partnership, it falls apart. And the key is, people say, well, that's impossible to have, these diverse communities. Well, I work in East Palo Alto, where you have Pacific Islanders, African Americans, Latinos, who normally don't get along at all in the community. And I'm not there to make everyone happy and humanitarian and wonderful. I say, what are your common vested interests? Who's interested in improving education for our kids? You get hands all the way across the board. Housing, we got a difference of opinion, so we can't work together on that one? Fine, put that aside for now. Security, you want to improve security? Great, we have an agreement, consensus. Guess what, we can move forward. For me, consensus is key. Consensus is basically, can you live with it? I'm not looking for 100%, I'm not looking to be a purist. I just want to get a critical mass of folks going and move forward.
All right, it's been great having you on. The book is Empowerment, Evaluation in the Digital Villages, Hewlett-Packard's $15 million Race Towards Social Justice. The book written by David M. Fetterman, available in paperback through Stanford Business Press. Great having you on, David.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me, Stu, and I look forward to talking to you in the future.
All right, look forward to it as well. We've got a busy week coming up, and I want to steer people to my website. It's STUTAYLOR.com, StuTaylor.com. We'll see you here